G'day folks. Well, I'm just starting to come back to reality, just to settle down into normal life again, because Sunday, guys, absolutely blew me away. It's bloody unbelievable the way it, well, just for starters, the engine. The engine is just, it's just got so much power. Like I've never experienced it in my entire life, you know. It's actually boosting to 14 pound. I had a couple of times there where I just glanced at it, and yeah, it's a solid 14. So it's the most boost I've actually run in the car, and it is made possible, guys, with that water meth. I wouldn't have even really chanced it with the intercooler, to be honest, but the water meth, no worries whatsoever, and it is so strong. The temps on the engine were just unbelievable, you know, guys. I was fairly into it too there at times, and we're only getting up to about 160. How ridiculous is that? Of course, when you come back in, she goes up to around 190, 200, and the fan kicks in and out, does its thing. But as soon as you get out on that track, get some airflow through it, wham, she drops back down. So it's an amazing little machine. I may need to trim the fuel a little bit. I did notice there, and you'll probably notice it in the videos, as I come out of the hairpin, it flutters a little bit and it just bogs down. So it does run an 80 rear main jet, so probably a little bit big. I may pull a couple of sizes out of it and just see how that runs. So yeah, look, it's incredible. I keep saying it, but it is. I just can't believe it. And remember, guys, that video when I said the one that's called She's Strong, those two Tiranas, they're up around sort of the high 500, 600 horsepower department. That orange Tirana, that's got a 383 Chev in it. Now, a fairly light little car compared to this. And for it to get up and sort of walk by that, that's a real showcase of what the power of this is, how it's making, and the torque, you know, as it's building up through the revs. It's just incredible, and it really is. I sort of came up to him and I was sort of about 3/4 throttle, and I thought, oh, you know, what do? And I thought, no bugger, and that's when I stood on it, and she just sort of went up again, you know, and sort of just shot past him, and that's when it all sort of cut out. But to me, that was one of the most satisfying things of the weekend. It really was. It just goes to prove that what I've been rattling on about for the last few years on how quick it actually is. And it is a very fast car for what it is. And, you know, and that gave you a great sense of speed too, because we were really motoring along there one day and really accelerating quite hard. So it's amazing, it really is. The MSD box, well, I've done some modding on it. I've taken the bottom plate off the box, so it's all exposed underneath, and I've cut into it a little bit, and I've sort of opened this box right up, and I've still mounted it back in under my dash, and now that it'll get airflow, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll stay cool enough to not cause an issue. So it's just one of these things we just keep testing and learning and try and keep trying things, you know, and that's all we can do. But look, guys, it's an incredible feeling, you know, when you put your heart and soul into working on a car and you guys know, working on your machine for years, and you take it out the street or down the drag strip or around the track, and it exceeds your expectation, you know, and yeah, and that's what this has gone and done, guys. It's exceeded what I've dreamt, you know. I didn't think, to be honest, that I'd be advancing as quick as I have, you know, like on the weekend there, this really gave me a glimpse of what it's capable of. You know, like the suspension in the back is unbelievable. Of course, it still needs a little bit of a dialing, guys. I need to do a bit of fine tuning on it. I need to replace the bottom rubbers on the lower control arm. They're completely flogged out. Replace them with some nolathanes. We dial it in a little bit more again and we get that sweet spot. But just the way the car takes off now, it lifts the front, digs its heel, and it just takes off. The times I took off at the start line there, I wasn't even spinning the wheels, you know. Once, of course, the boost kicks in and gets away, she breaks traction, but that's a great sign. It's really nice, you know, to feel that. None of this shuddering and jumping and bucking and a horrible feeling that it used to do. It corners now, you know, when you come into a corner, it feels really good, you know. It lays over just enough and bites in. I'm getting more bite on the track. I thought, you know, it feels like I've almost got different tyres under it. Just that extra little bit of elevated grip. It's incredible, guys. It really is. It's a confidence thing though, guys. I'm still lacking in confidence at high speed. For some reason, I just keep edging out of it going around the sweeper, and it's going to take time, you know. A few guys there mentioned that's where you'll make up your time griff, you know. You just need to stay in it around the sweeper and maybe under brakes a little bit more and just leave it that little bit and get on the brakes, you know. It's the brakes and the top speed, which is something I'm lacking at the minute. But in time, that's time, and I should be able to overcome that and build up the confidence in the car. But by crikey, you know, it's all the ingredients are there. It really is. It's unbelievable. It really is. It just blew me out of the water on the weekend on the way it goes. You know, just those intermittent stops put a little dampener on it, but at the end of the day, I walked away or came home and I had such a grin on my face, guys. It was just amazing. It really is. Yeah, I can't get over it. I really can't. It's just unbelievable. I just keep rattling on about it, but I don't know. It's just, these turbos are just incredible things. And putting it out the back, you know, some people don't get it, you know. They just say, why do you do that? You know, and sometimes I sort of run out of energy to try and explain how good it is out the back. You're never going to convince them. I don't want to convince them, to be honest. I know I'm on a winner. Honestly, guys, the ones that you guys that are following me, you know the bloody thing flies and it does everything you want it to do. But it's the ones that don't understand the benefits of a turbo out the back. And you'll never convince them because they've either got it up the front and that works for them. But for what I do with the car, guys, you'd never run it up the front. Never. Put it out the back because I don't get any heat issues. Nothing whatsoever. None. And I'll tell you now, that wastegate, I've actually burnt the bloody thing. It's blued right up, and I really sort of punished the car because we were doing back-to-back races. And that's probably why the box played up a bit too, because it just built up the heat and just, yeah, didn't want to stay on. But the wastegate's really blued up. It's never done that, so that tells you that I've really lent on the car. I'm keen to pull a plug out of it too. I just haven't had a chance. I'm just that exhausted from the weekend, guys. It really knocked it out of me. But checking the plugs, you know, with the water meth, I went through 6 litres, I think. Yeah, filled it up twice. I've sort of really got to top it up every run, the water meth. If I run 2 races, it just tends to be a little bit too low, and then I could get surge, you know what I mean, like pick up air, and I just want a constant supply of water meth because I think now she's starting to become dependent on it, especially at 14 pound. So you really want to be not chancing it and running it out or any sort of issues like that. So she's pretty much dependent on it now. And another thing too, guys, a little bit of data I picked up, you can just come on whenever you want to, especially when you get that engine really sort of circulating and get the temps all in it, and it just seemed to really like it. Whereas the other time I was down there in the wet, And it did dry out that day, but I wasn't pushing as hard. She was still backfiring as the boost started to ramp. Well, now it doesn't worry it. It really wants the water. It can handle it. So, amazing. Really amazing. So it was just a little touch vid, guys, to let you know that Griff's bloody just still on a bit of a high from the weekend, and he's just blown away with everything. The way all the mods that I've done to it, it's just all come together, and it's just worked an absolute treat. Now the sound you were hearing in the vid, guys, that bit of a rattling sort of, it's a funny sound it was. Well, that's the dust cover that came off the front of the diff. The little cover there with the yoke, and between the yoke and the diff, you get a little sort of a dust cover. It sort of came off and was spinning around. So I've got to sort of fix that up. But that was the only sort of issue in that box. Everything else was absolutely perfect. Absolutely unbelievable, guys. So I've got another video to put up. It's where I have a little, well, it's not really, well, I actually got out of shape and nearly bloody lost it. Coming out of turn one, I went to get on the gas a little bit and I got a bit too aggressive on it. Because you got to watch it. It really wants to get in. It'll just spin them wheels, you know. So, but saying that, guys, you can control this engine with the throttle a lot easier because it's all up a little bit in the power department, like in the revs, I mean. Whereas the 355, when that came on, that was super aggressive and really grunty. And it's hard to throttle something as the boost ramps. But once the boost ramps on this thing, you can play with it and you can throttle it. And so it is a better engine for circuit racing than what that 355 is. The 355 would be a terrific engine in the drags or just for a bit of fun. But, you know, I will end up putting it in and having to learn to drive the bloody thing. But for now, this is amazing. It really is. It's to be honest, I prefer this than the 355. I really do. I love the sound of it. I love the way it's just really revvy. It just really, once it comes on, it really just pulls like nothing else. Won't lay over. It just seems to keep pulling. It's unreal. The oil pressure too, guys, it was faultless. I've watched it back on the videos and it hasn't flinched. It's sitting up around 60, 70 pound the whole time. And it's just unbelievable. So I don't even have the accumulator on it, for goodness sakes. You know, that just the oiling mod in itself has done the trick. So I may put the accumulator on down the track, but for now I'm not sort of too concerned about it. I will put it on though if I do go for the real sticky tyres. There's something on, and I want to show you that too, guys, the tyres that I want to put on. I might sound I'm a bit still on song at the minute, because I am. I'm just, yeah, it's going to take me a week or two to settle down, I think. It's not, I thought it was going to be a day or two, but what are we into, Tuesday? And I'm still humdinging from it, so yeah, it's unbelievable. There you go, guys. Well, that's what I'm going to, they're the tyres I'm going to run. The Ventus Hankook Z214s. And you can get them in a 275. Oh mate, this thing will be like a go-kart. It'll be unbelievable, just hang on. So later in the year I'm going to get a set of these. So yeah, I'll get 5 of them because I've got 5 rims and I'll have a spare one. So very, very excited about it all, guys. I'm going to Basketville on my next outing. So it may be probably around 6 weeks away I want to go. I think the club is their next meet is a hill climb. I'm not really interested in hill climbs at the minute. I want to get a grip of it on the track. So I think Basketville, they've done the new surface. Let's go down on a private practice day and give it a shakedown run down there. So very keen on that one. But we'll, like I said, we'll leave it for around 4 to 6 weeks. So my next vid, guys, apart from my action vid, I think I've got another 2 little action vids I'll put up in the coming days, but I want to have a talk about the full specs of the car. and I think it's going to be a very interesting video. I think it may take probably half an hour to get through, but I want to talk about it all because there's a lot of people that are probably jumping on board now and sort of know bits and pieces about it, but don't know the whole thing that I've done to the car, like all the little bits and pieces to get it where it is today. And I want to share it all with you guys. I've got nothing to hide. So yes, I think that's going to be a ripper video, you know, because you've got to understand this is a budget build too, guys. There's no big dollar items on this car. Yes, you know, you've got to spend money where it matters, but if you've got a little bit of basic fabrication skills, patience, you can build something up fairly reasonable and have a killer car. Trust me, you can do it, and you don't have to spend the big bucks, and I've just proved it. So yes. Alright folks, well I hope you've enjoyed my little action vids, because I've had a blast of a time in the car, I really have. And I think putting it on the helmet really gives you a sense of being in there with me. And I think it came out quite well, those couple of vids, and I'll pop them up, the other ones, and I hope you enjoy them, guys. Well, I'll put one up soon, and I'll catch you later.